sometimes are you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. You know, it's the first day of school. And I'm happy to be here with you. Back to back. I must be insane. Welcome to back-to-back Roundtables, the first day of school. Look, Janelle, what do you do, Janelle? What is your job? She just hung a "don't even think about it" sign on the door. So thank you for that. Happy Thursday, the normal day that we do the show, even though the shows are all messed up. Hi, Abby Thompson. Thank you so much. Happy Thursday to you all. Last night, we had a wonderful time with Emmy-winning, Tony-nominee Obba Babatundé. Obba Babatundé has talked last night about Fosse, Liza, Sammy Davis Jr., Dreamgirls, a show called Timbuktu. He gave a true dramaturgical history lesson in what it was like to be on Broadway. And we got right to where he starts his film and TV career before he goes on to 160 plus credits. When we were talking to him, I had talked for an hour and we haven't even started to talk about TV and film. So I said to him, pause, we need to stop. We need to do a second day. And thankfully to my friends over there at Harper PR, Tracy Harper, thank you so much. She's given us some great guests, and we scheduled him for the second day, and here it is. So it's going to be a fun, exciting show for sure. Obba is on Instagram. If you go to @Obba Babatundé and find out. Next week, before we get started on this, Jodie Benson is here. Jodie Benson is the voice of The Little Mermaid. She joins us live. She has a new book called Part of My World, and you're definitely going to want to check it out. I don't have a week in review. You saw it. I taught today, though. I saw 75 brand new fifth graders at Kennedy School, at Horace Mann School. Oh my goodness, I changed schools over the pandemic. At Horace Mann, and they were beautiful, sweet kids. They're going to give me a run for my money, as they always do. And they get to ask me questions. And one of the first questions is, you have a YouTube show? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, are you a YouTuber? And I'm like, not real, like, I don't consider myself one, but this lives on the YouTube. So it's so funny. They're a trip. And the day went by really fast because you know what, you get to know them. I try to memorize all of their names. There's 70 something of them. And I'm getting old. It's hard. I'm like, what did you say your name is? What did you say? Huh? What? I can't hear you. What? Do you hear me? That's what I'm becoming. Truly. Everybody, if you love what we do here, we started a series called, it's true, called Roundtable Talks. Roundtable Talks is on YouTube. It's right underneath this video that you're watching right now. I hope that you can watch our brand new Roundtables Talk that just debuted. It is called Derek Vanderworst is here, and he's a singer, a songwriter, and a cancer survivor. He had extreme diagnosis of cancer and treatment on his throat as a singer, as a songwriter, and as a film editor. He edits music and sounds for film. So when you watch a movie, when you watch Tammy Faye or The Hills Have Eyes and you hear all the noises, Derek is the one who did all of that. And now he has a brand new album called Wildflower, and he even performs a song that I kind of asked him to do. So if you can, check out this interview right afterwards. It's a great inspirational story by Derek, and I think you'll really like it. Hello, Christine. Yes, double dose of the Roundtable and Obba this week. I'm spoiling myself to spend more time with you all. Alrighty. My shameless plug. Sure? Because I'm shameless. You know what I'm going to say. Come see me. Go to robertbannon.com. I hope you get your tickets to come at least see me at Rewind. It's going to be in New York. You can get virtual tickets or you can be there in person. Come see me. I have a full band. It's a really fun show. It's songs you know and love. And it's my crazy story and some fun videos and stuff. It's at the Green Room 42. All the details about all my live shows, including LA and Massachusetts and New Jersey and New York, are all at robertbannon.com. And we're working on Christmas stuff too. So you won't get away from this face anytime soon. I also got an email about my new series, which is partnered with Montclair State University, called the Broadway Lecture Series, Broadway's Night Off, Monday nights, live in Montclair at the university. We're getting closer. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of legality. The legalness of it all is a moment, but I can't wait to be there. I'd be remiss to not mention our condolences to our neighbors over there in the UK. Is definitely the end of an era. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, to be a ruler for 70 years plus is really something amazing. And to do it all, hi Mom, how are you? To do it all, thanks for checking the mail. To do it all with grace that she did and keep a country together. She served her whole life. We send our condolences to our friends in Great Britain. Yeah. You know what? Because I love the opening so much. Here you go. I'll be there for you. How you doing? So on the show last night, Obba mentions Melba Moore. Melba Moore was in the show with Obba about My Secret is Your Secret. Abby. My secret is your secret. And Abby likes this new segment, this section of the show that I'll be there for you. Melba Moore is mentioned by Obba. Melba Moore was in Timbuktu with him. Melba Moore won a Tony Award for Pearly. Okay. She sang the song, Love, 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 and held it for like 16 years. Well, I tagged Melba when he talks about Melba. And if you want to see me, interview Melba Moore, go on Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails, which was the show we did during the pandemic with Lee Lessick. And we did a show with Melissa Manchester and Melba Moore. And Melba Moore, at the end, Christine likes the friend hey as well. I'm nuts. These are the things I think about when I'm going to bed at night. Melba Moore was tagged in it. Melba. I mean, I would try to have her come back on this show. She's a tough cookie. So this is the message I got. We follow. So, hey friend, hey, how you doing, Melba? Thanks. I guess. I get in trouble on this show now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to contribute to the show and help support this show, you're more than welcome to Venmo me at RBAN, the money goes, we're scrolling. The money goes to promote the show. The more views we get, the better guests we get. And we have some fun guests coming up in the upcoming weeks. And we have some serious, yes, we're besties, as you can see. We have some fun shows coming up soon. So if you want to contribute and help us get better guests, and we have some really fun, good things coming up for you. I promise I'm always working hard to try to get this out into the world and to do some fun stuff. I have some ideas. We get through October, we get through November. We're doing 2 shows on HIV prevention. Did you see the courts coming for PrEP medication to prevent HIV? And courts saying that now businesses that don't have to provide that insurance if they're a religious institution. I don't care what you think about lifestyles. I don't care what you think about contraception. I don't care what you think about all of those things. It's people's choice. Here he goes. And courts ordering that you don't have to give medication to prevent living live people. You want to protect people that are not born, but you don't want to protect living people. The hypocrisy of it all. So we're going to talk about HIV prevention and what's going on, because when I was growing up, HIV was such a big news story, Magic Johnson and all of that. And now Greg Louganis, who was on here to talk about it, and now it's kind of like a forgotten thing. So I hope we can talk about that on the show. We have a really good guest for it, a couple of them. And we have some really fun stuff going on. I want to shout out to Marie Lange. Marie sometimes pops on. You see her on Instagram and stuff. She posts me and is always so sweet. She has taken my idea for Celebrity Encounter, which I get stopped in school and stuff about the videos about Celebrity Encounters. So she started doing her own. She did Sebastian Maniscalco, I told you last week. And today she released her second one, which is about LFO. You know the band? I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. I'd like it if I had one wish. Well, I'm doing an event for Marie coming up this month, next week. And I look forward to sharing about that. And I'll also be singing at the Fairview 9/11 Memorial on Sunday. So if you're Jersey people and you want to celebrate Patriots Day and memorialize all that was lost on 9/11, come down to the 9/11 Memorial in Fairview. I've been doing it for 20-something years, so it's become a tradition. Alrighty, I think that's all I have to say. We talked last night. People really liked this conversation. People really enjoyed his insight. And now we're going to talk about film and television. If you're an actor, if you're a performer, if you're a writer, if you are anything to do with art, if you are just in business or someone who is inspired or wants to be inspired by greatness and how to be great and how to work, this is for you. Ladies and gents, part 2 with Obba Babatundé starts now. Sometimes you have such a legacy and a career, over 200 and something TV and film credits. We spent an hour and just tapped the theater world, that this guest has done, we had to have him back for a second hour because there's just so much life and history in his work. Obba Babatundé is here again. I can't wait to listen. He has been on practically every soap opera, every sitcom, every hour-long, every. I mean, if you talk about Tales of the Crypt to Scooby-Doo, I mean that's what this career has been. Santa Paws to Berry Gordy and the Temptations. So I need all of Emmy winner Obba Babatundé is here. You're here. That's true. I went through your IMDb page. It was like reading an encyclopedia.
You know, it's so funny that you would say that. You know, very often, like I have a fan base, like from 8 to 80 and up and down, either way, and it's because of the many different things that I've done, and so now it's like someone says, "I know you. Where do I know you from?" I said, "You know what? Type in OBBA. That's all you have to do. Type it into your phone. And but wait until you have enough time to read or explore. You know what I mean? Because it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Scooby-Doo. Wow, I remember that. Yeah, we had a good time doing that.
Scooby-Doo. We talk, you do Dreamgirls, you tour with Liza, you're a Broadway star, you're nominated, the show is a gigantic hit. How does one transition from a lifetime of dancing with Bob Fosse and being on Broadway to television? How did that transition happen for you? Was it intentional? Was it an accident?
No, actually, you know, you had mentioned soap opera. So while I was doing Dreamgirls, I was asked to go on to All My Children, and it's this wonderful producer named Jacqueline Babin. I'll never forget her. She was so kind and open. I went on to do literally 3 episodes, 3 shows. I ended up being on for a year and a half as Rusty Bennett on My Children. And, you know, so that then at the same time, which we're going to get a chance to talk about some of this today, that was also when I got called in to meet with the great Jonathan Demme. And Jonathan, I had never met Jonathan Demme. And so I get this message, you know, very much, these messages come to me. It's amazing. You know, I told you about the message on the call board from Liza. You know what I mean? So I get this message. Jonathan Demme wants to have a meeting with you. I said, great. I go in, you know, and I go into his office there on Broadway, and I think it was around like 56th Street. And I go up, and they said, okay, just a minute. And he was the warmest human being you ever wanted to meet. He says, hey, come on in, sit down, right? And I sat in this office was a no frills office. Literally, I sat in the chair and went like this. He said, oh, don't sit in that chair. That one, the leg is off of it, right? So I pull up another chair and he sits down. He says, hey, listen, I love your work. This is Jonathan Demme talking to me. He goes, I love your work. He said, now I'm doing this movie and there's a role. It's a very small role, but I can't think of anybody else that would be better for it than you. Now I'll pay you what you know you want to get paid, but would you do this? And that's all he said. He didn't tell me what the role was. He says the character's name is the Face of Justice, right? So I said, of course, Mr. Demme. You're asking me to, you know, no audition, no, hey, let's see if you can do that. Nothing like that, right? Okay. So Dean Stockwell, my friend Matthew Modine, this movie is like, I'm walking into this thing and literally this character, the Face of Justice. And it garnered me so much attention. And really, I mean, I had one line. I think the line was something like, nice day. I think it was something like that. Out, in and out. But it was 2 or 3 scenes, you know, but he said, absolutely. That began the relationship, which led to doing all of Jonathan's films after that, including the original Silence of the Lambs, Philadelphia, Manchurian Candidate. There was one that he produced that George Armitage directed, starring Alec Baldwin and Jennifer Jason Leigh and Fred Ward. And Miami Blues was the name of that one. But he would just, it became part of the family. I became part of his family, you know. And Jonathan, because I know you like stories, so here's one. Jonathan hired what I would identify as 2 types of professionals. Great actors that he considered to be great actors, and people who had celebrity that in their own right, but were not actors. Okay, so you would take, for example, we're doing the Manchurian Candidate, and he'd take this gentleman, a well-known, exceptional writer, author, and he sits them down in a chair and he says, just sit here, and he's just sitting there. And then Meryl Streep has a scene where she comes in. He tells Meryl, just go and start the scene by, he doesn't tell us, tells Meryl, go start the scene just when you come in, go sit down and talk to that guy, right? So the guy is sitting in there and they say, he says, action. Meryl comes in, she's doing the beginning of the scene. Now you'll see it in the movie, it's in the movie. She walks in, she sits down and she starts talking to him. And he's like, I'm talking to Meryl Streep, you know, and she's like, I love your books. You know, you're fantastic. And they're having this conversation. And the scene starts where the first line, one of the senators says, Ellie, this is not going to work. Now she's supposed to go, oh, of course it's going to work. She's so brilliant. And the scene is so perfect in this way because of this. She ignores him and continues to talk to this guy, that's the writer, right? They're having a conversation. Now, what that does is now we have to look at each other like she's ignoring us. So all of this fodder for the scene is now coming alive for the first time because of the way it's set up. And then he looks at her and he goes, and you'll see it in the movie, Ellie, it's not going to work. And she says to him, oh, excuse me. He says, of course it's going to work. What are you talking? And that's how the scene starts. That's how the written part of the scene starts. So Jonathan would do this all the time with amazing people. He would put them, you know, in the scenes as themselves, you see? And so because they had celebrity in their own right, people would sort of recognize they had a panache about them. Mm-hmm. And they would go, wait a minute, what is he doing in the movie? You know what I mean? It was amazing. I remember when I was doing Silence of the Lambs, I'm playing the news anchor, right? And we shot it in an actual newsroom, and we used the actual floor director, right? So when I'm there doing it, and there was a guy, Michael Michelson, I think his name was, but he did sports. And we used him to do, like, I would go, back to you, Michael, and he would go into his thing. So when the anchors came in, they're looking at the monitor and they're going, oh my God, who got canned? Who's the new anchor? They actually thought I was a real anchorman because I'm doing it, you know, I got the clothes on, I'm doing bang, bada, bang, bada, bang. And actually, when I threw it, we did a take when I threw it because the floor director is the same guy. So he's pointing, in 5, 4, 3, and, so everything is real. And when I threw it to Michael Michaels, and he goes, "Whoa, hold it, wait a minute, I feel like you're the really guy, the real. Let's do that again." You know what I mean? I mean, that was the brilliance of that. Now, going back to the original question, so now I'm doing this soap opera. I got introduced to Jonathan, and those things started to unfold. I did a movie, a feature. It was called Short Eyes. Now, this is a crazy story. Miguel Pinheiro, who was the writer, producer, and he was a brilliant actor. He was in with Pacino, Injustice for All.
My mom's favorite movie.
Amazing, right? Amazing. Mm-hmm. So he's producing, and he wrote this movie, Short Eyes. And so this is my first feature. Like, this is a little before Jonathan, it's my first feature. So I go to work there, and we're filming, and come back the next day. Okay, you here? I get there, and they go, we're not filming today. Miguel got pinched last night. What? Yeah, he stuck up a gas station on the way home. He did what? What? Oh, wait a minute. The writer, producer, this great man. Yeah. We'll bail him out, and he'll be back probably it'll probably take 2 days. I know. So I get back. When we get back to work, I go to him. I said, "Man, what happened, man?" He goes, "Bro, I don't know, man. Sometimes if I'm not doing something that's messed up, I don't feel like I'm alive." It wasn't for that much, you know what I mean? I mean, this is welcome to film world, Obba Babatundé. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, just another one of the stories of this maturational aspect of getting into it. So now I'm doing, I'm blessed to have done, all these amazing Broadway shows, but I'm identifying that at that time, I could see that you could obtain celebrity status, but you couldn't obtain star status unless you had been doing more film and television. So I decided I'm going to go. I mean, I got Tony nomination for Dreamgirls. I'm cooking. I just did a movie with Jonathan Demme. I go out to LA, and God bless her, a friend of mine. I kept my place because I lived in New York at the time, in Chelsea, right? 22nd Street, right? Between 7th and 8th, right? 235 West 22nd Street, which was the best location. Amazing, right? Had a fabulous interior decorated apartment. It was just the best, right? So I kept that.
No.
Bang. So I didn't know how that was going to handle in LA. So I kept that. I go out to LA because I had been doing still after Dreamgirls. I doing good. I did Golden Boy, at the Arnold Middleman's Theater, Coconut Grove Playhouse. I did Raw, the Grease Paint Smell of the Crowd. So I'm rolling. I'm doing okay. And so I figured, go out to LA and kick it a little bit out there. I mean, I had been out there with Liza, you know what I mean, and I should be okay. Man, they were like, "That's very nice that you've done all of that stuff in New York. Where's your reel?" I'm like, "My reel?" But I got this thing. Where's your reel? See us when you got a reel. And so I had to reestablish myself all over again, as if I was a newbie in the industry of entertainment. And that was an interesting journey, but I'm up for the journey. And I said, okay, watch me. And my friend Deborah Cannon, as I said, allowed me to sleep on her couch while I continued to be able to pay my rent in New York. And I would go back and forth. I would do all of the stuff building the career, and then I'd come back into the city and do some theater, or do the national tour, of Chicago. You know what I mean, with the wonderful Jasmine Guy and Charlotte D'Amboise, and Carol Woods, Ron Abel. I mean, just a bunch of wonderful people. So anyway, that's how I kept it going. And I pushed. I got on this show. I got on that show. I got on this show. I got on that show. And that started the ball rolling. Jonathan would call me up if he had something. Oh, but listen. He would say, listen, here's the script. Here's what's gone. See what you like in there. And, come on and let's play. And here's what I loved while we're talking about Jonathan is, and I've adopted this. He would come to work every day and say this: hey, want to make a movie today? See, that was the approach. That was the approach. It was, let's have some fun, and that's what we would do. So that was how the idea of getting out into Los Angeles to build that part of the career.
Firstly, the first movie he's talking about is Married to the Mob, which is a legendary, legendary Michelle Pfeiffer and Matthew Modine and Alec Baldwin. I met Matthew Modine. He's one of the most talented actors. I mean, the man is like a chameleon. And then, you just pull out these stories and these credits, and Meryl Streep and Manchurian Candidate and Philadelphia and even Chicago with Jasmine Guy. And Ron Abel is, of course, music director, piano player. He's a New York icon.
Yes.
You're like, you are an encyclopedia. While we're talking about you are, you know what's funny, and I'm not trying to make this about me at all, but I just had a conversation with a TV film, my manager, and she was saying, reels, and I was talking about auditions and self-tapes and reels, and they were like, procedural shows, they're like, you have nothing in your reel. The reel as an actor in TV and film is so different than the audition cut and the monologue that is in theater.
Absolutely.
What was your tips of the trade? How did you build that reel in the beginning?
Well, I would just, what it is that it's taking bits and pieces of things that you have done, and you get a snippet of it. And that's when you start to then put a reel together. I have put together something which, after this, I know when I share this with you, you'll go and check it out, because you do if you haven't checked it out already, because you do your homework, you're amazing. But I decided, I got so many different characters, right? That now, because everything is Zoom and this and that and self-tape and I'm going to put one together that I've played every single character that there is to play. So what better than to see it in the evidence? So I have put together, if you go to, what is it called? Demoreel.com, right? DEMOREEL.com. And then you go to the search engine and you type in my name. And what comes up is, boom! If you've got your computer there, you can pull it up and you can show. But it's snippets of, I've put together little tiny reels of the different film and television that I've done. So there's like something from Philadelphia, there's something from the practice, there's something from and you can just go and you can have a mini Obba Film Fest.
I saw it.
Just going flip.
I did see it. I saw it from your website. You could go to your website. There's a link from your website, and you can literally, and you'll say, it is a who's who litany of television and film appearances, truly. And then you'll say, wow, like you place you in all of these moments with all of these actors.
Yes.
I personally, you know, as the artist in my backstory and history, I remember Philadelphia. Speaking of, and I remember Silence of the Lamb. All these Jonathan Demme won the Academy Award for Best Director for Silence of the Lamb.
Yes.
You've worked with Denzel a couple of times.
Yes.
You've done John Q. You've done Philadelphia. And you've worked with so many. I mean, you're quite the actor yourself. So, but what, when you're on a project, if you mind sharing, film, television, what is the relationship? How important is the relationship with the other actor with you? Do you have a relationship with them offset? Do you try to talk? Is there rehearsal? What is it like for us that are not on movie sets and TV sets all the time?
You know what? I always share this. It's so funny. That's a great question. I always say I show up as Obba, and I'm open to whatever the relationship's going to be. I'll give you this as an example, which blew my mind. You know, and then I'll go back to Liza, but I'll tell you about this. So now I'm doing Multiplicity.
I love that movie.
You love that movie?
I love that movie so much. I love Michael Keaton. And I go ahead.
So Michael, right? One day he's just like, we're doing this, doing our thing, and this is Michael Keaton. I'm not gonna I don't get in people's face. You know what I mean? If you want to talk and want to hang, cool. Next thing you know, man, I'm getting phone calls, literally, from Michael going, "Hey, Obba, what's happening, man? Look, you want to go get something to eat?" I'm like, Batman's calling me. Is this the Bat line? And we would go and we would hang out. Robert Duvall on the same movie you're talking about with Denzel, Ray Liotta, right? We're doing John Q. Robert Duvall. Hey, Obba, you like Chinese food? Yeah. We're shooting in Toronto. There's an amazing Chinese restaurant. One is supposed to be one of the best ones in North America. We go every day. He and I would go to have Chinese food. And listen, because we had to go offset, I didn't have time to change. I'm playing the SWAT officer, right? I'm the leader of the SWAT team. So I'm going in my SWAT outfit. He's in his same suit that he wears. And every day we go to this Chinese restaurant. And I walk in and I go, wait a minute, watch this. And I go, that's Mr. Duvall, stay right here. I go in and I say, excuse me, I need a table, Mr. Duvall. And I would act like I was his security. And we would get a table, we sit down and eat. Now, this you're going to love, because it's another one of those amazing stories. He loves Peking duck. So every day he would order the Peking duck, right? One day, Ray Liotta says, you know, hey, where you guys going? He goes, we're going to have lunch. You want to go? He goes, he wants to go with us. Should we take him? I said, yeah, if he wants to go, come on. So we go. He orders the Peking duck. Ray is freaking out because the duck has the head on. Oh my God, it's got the head. It's got the head. Duvall goes, this guy doesn't like Peking duck, right? So in the movie, in John Q, there is a scene that now when you see this movie, like toward the end, Ray Liotta's character says to Duvall's character, hey, listen, something like, you know, just you better straighten this thing out and it better not take a long time. And Duvall looks at him and goes, for no apparent reason, he goes, yeah, Peking duck. So when you see this movie, when you see this, now you'll know what that story is born out of.
With no explanation. Just
no explanation. He just goes, yeah, Peking duck. And then walks off. to get to do a scene. It is the best. But again, I don't go after anybody. One of the things that Liza said, that she paid me a nice compliment. She said, Obba, and I want to get it right, the quote, because she said, Obba is the only person that I've met that is absolutely comfortable in his skin. And I love him because he doesn't talk at the pool. And you understand what that means. Like, whatever happens, it's not about, oh, you know,
yeah.
You know, I mean, and what I have found is that when you are comfortable in your skin and when you give people room to be themselves, they come to you because they want to hang out with somebody that's comfortable in their skin and is cool, because they have to deal with, I guess, so many other things along the way, you know. And that's been my experience all of my career, that it's just, you know, there are also, you'll know that there are, this part and parcel to your question, there are certain actors that are the great ones that are very comfortable and secure in their skin. And I'll give you, I just thought about one with the great Jason Robards. And I'll give that one to you. But this was the great Meryl Streep. So Jonathan said to me in a scene where my character, the senator, has to really get on her case, really go at it. And he walks in, comes in and he goes, Obba, stick it to her, right? So we get to that part and we come in and bam, I'm laying it on her. And she went, woo, okay, let's take that again. Whoa! Now, I tell you that story, and then we did the scene again. And in her brilliance, when I went at her, some actors, less brilliant, will try to come right back at you. She kept it going and saved it for a latter part of the scene where she turned it up. You know what I mean? So brilliance. But I tell you that story to say, some actors, less powerful, less talented, I'll say, that I've had to do that, will have said to the director, oh, what's with the guy? You know, I mean, tell him to calm it down a little bit. I mean, he's coming at me kind of strong. So they are not as, some are not as comfortable, you know. But I mean, I'm there to do what I'm there to do. And if I'm directed to do something, and you're going to bring it, yeah, I'm going to bring it. You know, that's what I'm hired to do. You know? So I don't chase, I don't coddle, I don't, hey man, it's great to meet you, man. And, you know, their career speaks for themselves. And we're both there at that time. You mentioned Matthew Modine, and I referred to him as my friend. We did a movie together in Montreal. And it's called, the name of the movie is The Redeemer. And he and I got on so well. I mean, we just melded and we became friends. That's the magic that you have, the potential in this industry. You know, you create little families and then you go on to the next project. And sometimes you come back again and you see a family member and it's, hey, what's up? Then, or you're working on something, you know. You mentioned John Q. The director was Nick Cassavetes. Nick Cassavetes also is the reason that I'm in The Notebook, because he directed The Notebook. But we worked together first as actors in the movie Life. He plays boss. And again, it was just guys. We would go to Gold's Gym and work out together. You know what I mean? And then, you know, how I came to work with to be in the Notebook. That wasn't written. That wasn't written. It wasn't in the script.
The band leader.
Huh?
The band leader wrote. I love that movie.
The band leader.
Yes.
Yes. So he but he called me up and he goes, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I'm directing a movie and you ain't on my set." I go, "Well, bring me on the set then." He goes, "No, seriously, I need you." He said, "There's a scene and we have a choreographer, but the essence of that period is I'm not really getting it. So come on out, fly in, you know what I mean? And just maybe you can help him out a little bit." And, you know, so that scene, before I jump on the stage, I was there, you know, and you'll get a kick of that. It is. So, you know, he says, just go in and help out. So, you know, the choreographer, I guess, didn't know who I was. And he says, "Do you dance?" And I said, "A little bit." I said, "A little bit," you know, because I don't want to go in there and go like, "Okay, all right, listen, Nick asked me to come in here, so let me just do this. So you do this, you do that, you do." I said, "You know what? I was thinking maybe if I'm, you know, do that." And then Nick said, "Well, but show him. So then I began to show it, and then the dancers got excited, and I started creating some jitterbug stuff and some period stuff, and I mean the choreographer was a little upset, but he was kind of happy because it started looking, you know, really good.
Right. Yeah.
And then Nick says to me, he goes, "Go to wardrobe." Now, check this out. I didn't have a trailer or nothing. I just came in to help because he called me. I didn't have a trailer, nothing. The producer gave me his trailer. He goes, "Nick didn't tell us you were coming." He says, "Take my trailer." I'm in the producer's trailer. He tells me, "Go to wardrobe. Tell him you want something." So that white suit, they just happened to have that. We tailored it up, you know, so it fit me. And then he said, "Then just jump on the stage and do something." So that oop-bop, shabam, shabili-bop, all of that whole thing is ad-lib. That whole number. And the band guys are going, "What?" But that was my tribute to Cab Calloway. You know what I mean? I'm always looking to pay tribute to those that have set the groundwork. You know what I mean? You know?
Well, I remember you saying that, from Sammy to all of the reverence you pay to the art form and the people that came before you. It's a beautiful scene, Obba. I can't believe that's not written on a page.
I know. It's right there. It's not written. That's all ad-lib in the moment. You know? And who was it? Jason Robards. He gave me this, and I know Jason Robards, right? So we're doing Philadelphia, and we're sitting next to each other. Mary Steenburgen are the attorneys that represent that firm, right? Against Denzel and Tom, you know, those characters. So there's a pitcher of water on the table, right? And Jason says, "I'm trying to get away with a DCE." I go, "DCE? What's a DCE?" "Deliberate continuity error." So what he would do, he would take the water, right? You know, and it was water in a glass, and just right before we get ready to roll, he would pour it back into the pitcher. And then they would say, "Oh, the prop guy go, oh, so sorry. And he goes, and he come and he fill it up, right? And we get ready to roll again. Jason will pour it in there again. And the guy goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he comes over and Jason goes, "I'm so sorry. I'm so parched today. I don't know what it is. I'm so thirsty." He goes, "I can't get away with this guy. This guy's too on top of it."
Do you think there's something to be said? I mean, you're talking about one of the most serious actors, fabulous actors of all time, Jason Robards, to be said, and like you were talking about Jonathan Demme, we put such a word on the art form because it's scary. You're auditioning. Everyone's going to see it. There's high stakes. But at the essence of all of this, Obba, no matter if it's how high or no matter if it's you know, Philadelphia, the absolute bookends of serious versus something fun. At the end of it, isn't it just supposed to be the joy you got as a younger person performing? It's just it's the joy you have as an artist.
Absolutely, you're 100% correct. I couldn't agree with you more, Robert. It's finding the truth in that human being. See, I always tell people I only play fully realized human beings. That's it. And a fully realized human being has we have the spectrum. We have the serious, we have the fear, we have the concern, we have the joy. We have so many different levels, even within those things. I'm going to give your listeners and something that I would like to share with you as well, because you just mentioned this. You know, I teach a masterclass from time to time. And I tell people, I said, listen, they say, man, but you work all the time. I said, well, I can increase your booking rate. Oh, really? Well, what time does the class start? You know what I mean? I said, well, it's really simple. But it takes some working at it, but it's simple. And I'm going to share this with you and your viewers. What I tell people is I want you to replace the word audition with the word opportunity. Now, write that down. All right. Now, just say it. You say, I have an audition today. You've already given away your power. I have an opportunity today. It changes the energy. Okay? It changes the energy. And now it's, I have an opportunity to win, rather than, hi, how are you? You know, or in self-tape, hi, I'm Obba Babatundé, I'm 5'8", it's not, we're kinetic beings as human beings, okay? So where is the connection? The connection comes from you. There's no Robert but you, that's you. No one, and no one better. If you were given the lines and I'm given the lines, we both can say the lines. But they're never gonna be identical. And so when you infuse it, rather than trying to decide what you think the other person is looking for, but the only control the actor has, in my opinion, is over the opportunity situation. Because this is me. I'm going to bring it. Another thing is that if you get to go into a room, there's always that chair there, the obligatory chair. And, less than I'll say a seasoned actor, the director or casting director will always say, so do you have any questions? And in an effort to show that you're really interested and excited, you know what? Now this person, they did that, and they begin to talk. Right now, you've already prepared what you're going to do. So now you say that in your effort to try to say, listen, I'm really interested, and tell me, no, okay, I got that. Well, the person tells you something, oh, no, that's not it at all. And then they give you something else. Now you've thrown away everything and you're trying to do that when you've already prepared. Somebody says, well, but what's the correct answer? Correct answer is no, I think I got this. But I am happy to take an adjustment if you see something that you think you'd like to see differently. And then go and do your go in there and be you. Give it. Man, do you know I used to crash auditions in New York before I had this illustrious long career? I would literally, I didn't have an agent. So there used to be, back in the day, there was an equity monitor that sat at the door. Yeah. And if your dues wasn't paid, you didn't get in the door. And if you weren't on the list, you weren't getting in the door. Man, Robert, I would go to auditions and I go up to the monitor sitting there and go, hey, what's going on? He's like, and he or she doesn't want to act like they don't know who I remember me. So they go, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "So how are we doing? We're running behind. We're on schedule. What's up?" He says, what time was your appointment?" I said, "It was about, I'm here a little early. It was about 2 o'clock, you know, but I'm here quarter of, you know, I could be early. And forget, what's your name again? Obba Babatundé. Come on, man. You don't remember me? But I don't see your name." The whole time, Robert, I'm watching that door because somebody's in there auditioning. So I'm watching the door, and they're like, I'm like, "Are you serious? You know what? I'm done with this agent. This is the third time this has happened this week." And the door opens. Boom! I would bust in the door. "Hey, my name's Obba Babatundé, and do you know?" I talked to the rehearsal pianist, you know, I mean the audition pianist, and I said, you know, and sometimes they would look at me like this, and the producers would be sitting there and casting the record like, whoa, and I go, "Don't worry about it." And I said, "I don't need any music." Tone da tone da tone da. "So you wanted to meet the wizard? Let me tell you that you've come to the right place." They'd be going, okay, "I'll make you a frog or a lizard." "You should see this." And I would audition. I would wear it out. I would dance. I would do whatever it took. And then I remember I had an answering machine that was Actiphone. It was 212-840-1234. And I would go, "Obba Babatundé, Actiphone, 212-840-1234. You're going to want me in your production. Trust me when I tell you." I would crack, man. I would just give it. Then I start going and taking musicians with me. I would take my Zane Mark, who is still one of the great dance arrangers on Broadway right now. Zane Mark. I would take Zane Mark. I would take my buddy Bradley Simmons, who was a percussionist, and I would go in with the band, me and the percussionist. And I remember I would audition sometime with the song from Pippin. What was it? "Join Us," right? And I put a dance break in there and everything, and they would go call me in, and I'm coming, and the guys it was like the Little Rascals. I mean, the dude's got a wind chimes, ching, ching, and a congas, and he's carrying things in, and he sits down, and I go, and they're like, "Hello?" He said, No, I got my own pianist. You know what I mean? The guy get up, and you know what I mean, and here we would do it, and then boom, 2, 3, 4. Boom, down it, 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 boom, down it. I mean, we would just, you know, "Join us, leave your fields to flower. Join us, leave your cheese to sour. Join us, come and waste an hour or two. I did lead to journey." Get the job every time. Bang! That's it. So I don't know how I got on that subject, but I was telling you the part about changing the concept of how you go into the room or present yourself into the room. There's no better person than you. Now, what that means is, I also say in the class, that means that you've got to be prepared. That means you got to be prepared. Don't just show up and think just because, you know, I often say some people mistake their presence for the event. Don't do that. I don't ever mistake my presence for the event. I'm a part of the event. I'm there to be a contributor. I'm there to give. And that's the other thing. I say, and the next time you have an opportunity, don't go to get anything. Go to give something and watch what happens.
Yes. That's a full word, because I heard someone say to me, some artists are artists to get something from the audience, and some artists are artists, the great ones, give something to the audience.
That's right. Jeffrey Holder used to tell us, he said, "Always, baby, always do your show for the little man or woman way up in the cheapest seat in the balcony, because it is that person whose life you have the ability to change." That's what it's about. But I digress.
No, Obba, I wanted to say to you, firstly, thank you for that knowledge, because I wrote that down. I'm going to take a clip of this. I'm going to watch what you just said, because it gives you confidence about being yourself and bringing life to the room and showing your personality. And I would be remiss for someone like myself who has known you from some of the latter projects. I've been a giant fan of yours. I really love you as the bad guy, and I love you as the dean in Dear White People. Do you mind You and your little henchman there, your son, the whole storyline that was a part of you. Can you tell us about Dear White People, how it came to be, and why it was important for you to be in the series?
It's a very, very powerful series for many reasons, because it expands. People will be confused by the title. They think, some people say, is it Dear White People? Oh, is it a comedy? No, it's not a comedy. But it has comic elements. I said, here is a story. And how it came to be is, I had a series called Half and Half. And a host of, Valerie Pettiford, who we did Grind on Broadway together, another huge Fosse superstar, Valerie and Chico Benjamin, Essence Atkins, who we've worked together several times, played my daughter, just every opportunity with these individuals to be on a set, but the producer, Yvette, she was the producer of Half and Half. They were looking for a character for the dean, and she said, it's Obba. And they said, well, we want to, we were thinking, she said, it's Obba. And I went in and I met, and boom, I was on the show. And I tried to bring, as I say, I only play fully realized human beings. My character is the first person of color to be a dean. I went to that institution when my character went to that institution, when I was maybe one of two Black people that were there at that school. It's a perfectly pristine Ivy League school. Now here it is that I'm coming in and I'm the dean, and then my son, the gentleman who's playing my son on the show, is going to be the first Black student president. But the title of the show, Dear White People, was based on a radio show that was done. And on college campuses, there's always some revolutionary, something that's going on. And so it'd be like, yeah, Jamal today was sitting on the quadrangle having his lunch and ended up face down because they didn't believe he belonged at the school. That was sort of like the premise. But then it gets deeper, because then you find out that the person who's on the radio is biracial. And she's also in a biracial relationship. So now it starts to expand, because people have this little narrow idea of what they think this is. And then you start to identify what the human element is. And that's why it's so powerful, because we get to see sides, all the different aspects. So it was just, I really, really enjoyed doing that. And, to segue, now you talk about the dean of this school, right? And then you talk about me playing Dean Cain in How High, right? Yes. Right. And here I am, right, with Red Man and Method Man, right? Now, these are two different deans, and he's the dean of Harvard, right? Right. And for those who have not had the chance to watch it in a long time, please check it out. How High is a real, and that gave me, now listen, this is, at the time, I was doing all these straight dramas and these great heavy roles. And my manager at the time said, listen, there's this role. I said, I'm not doing that. No. I'm not going and playing no movie that's about smoking marijuana. And she says, Obba, I'm telling you, go. So I go in, I have the opportunity, I get cast. The next thing, it is one of the most wonderful experiences. Essence Atkins also was in that production, and then we've done other things. Are we there yet? But here I am, and it's a tour de force opportunity. I'm dealing with Redman and Method Man who have never acted. And I'll never forget, Method Man said to me, yo, listen, man, like, I love all your stuff, man. You know, I've been watching you for years. I grew up watching you. Like, I don't even know nothing about no acting. So, like, if you see me doing something or you think I could do something better, just call me, man, because I'm here to be a student of yours. Redman never called me by my name. He always called me Dean Kane, sir. Yes, sir, Dean Kane, sir. And the two of them really became students of the game. And I would see something and I say, you know, Meth, why don't you guys maybe try it like this? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there. You know, explain it to me because, you know, and then it's like, hey, that's working, man. I appreciate you. Yeah. You know, yes, sir, Dean Kane, sir. And these guys were so much fun on the set. Oh, my goodness. You know, on college campuses, there's always something that's going on as a protest. We're looking for Red one day. Like, where's Red? So I don't know. He took the bicycle and he went over there. There was a picket going on. He had a sign. he was riding around on the bicycle. You know, Method Man ended up going into one of his classes and was sitting there like he was a student. I mean, these guys were just the best. But here it was. They would bring all that stuff. We could bring all of our experiences, our life experiences, on, you know, onto the you know. I mean, it just and then they had a dance double, you know, and I was like, what's that guy gonna do? And the guy go, oh, they want your character to dance. I go, yeah. They go, well, do you dance for real? I was like, DJ, hit me! Boom, 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 boom. Boom. So then I just took off, and all of that dancing that I did, that's all me. Nothing choreographed, all me right on the spot.
Get out. Well, firstly, congrats, because Method Man and Redman today, they've gone on to be very accomplished actors. I mean, Method Man has done a lot of movies.
Yes.
And it's a classic. It will live forever. Speaking of college campuses, I think college campuses is everywhere. We'll be watching that movie.
You're 100% correct, because it's from the people from the beginning of when that movie came out to right now. It becomes sort of like, you know, a rites of passage in colleges. So they come up to me and people are like, oh my God, it's DK. Yo, what's up, DK? I love you, man. I love you. And I always tell them, I said, yeah, I was fine until y'all gave me them brownies. Then I got the munchies like a
While we have you here, what has it been like to transit? You have the most amazing, well, you're an amazing singer, but you have the most amazing speaking voice, and and voiceovers have become quite the thing. From the Star Wars to the video games to all of it. What has that been like added to your repertoire of skills, and how has that been now in these days when it's such a big business, voiceover
Well,
work?
you know, in New York, I used to do a lot of voiceovers. That's when voiceovers were done like, hi, this is Obba Babatundé, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to make sure that you get this. And if it's Tide that you use, that's the brand that I'm selling. There was that. So I would book 2 out of 3 in New York as voiceover actor. Then they started doing more real voices, right? And because my voice is really kind of distinct, they didn't identify it as a real voice. So then I started, you know, in getting involved in doing the animated voiceover stuff, because they would need people that could also sing for the character to sing. And so, you know, in terms of the, you mentioned Star Wars, you know, I've done for the last like 8 years, all of Lando Kardashian's voice, because they wanted somebody, you know, and Mr. Williams wasn't doing it. So I go, hey, my name is Billy D. Williams. And of course, you know, if you want that kind of voice, I can bring that to you. No problem at all. This is, come on, you Wookiees, let's get this thing going. Chabuka, come on, here we go. We're going to take this all the way to the end of the world, baby. You know, so that was how I got that. And then, like you mentioned, Scooby-Doo, you know what I mean? And then, you know, voices of like there's one where I play a basset hound, and what is that one? But it's this cat. Oh, he's a blues singer. Yeah, and so they needed that. So whatever it is, you know what I mean. I just jump right in there. It's all part of the craft. It's all part of the craft. So the voiceovers have been great. I know your friend, and we're going to have lunch together with Anna Maria Horsford. So we should make sure, because I know we'll talk forever and we won't get everything in. And but in the soap opera, which I was honored to receive an Emmy award for, but what I wanted to mention why, first of all, Anna is a dear friend. And we've known each other for many years, but this was the first time out of the years of knowing each other from New York that we had gotten a chance to work together, play husband and wife in this wonderful show, Bold and the Beautiful, and the Avons. And the reason it's really special for me as a part of my career is, if I may share this story really quickly, is that I play the father of, I think, probably one of the first transgender stories to be put in mainstay. And it was important for me to represent this man as a parent, not as an ism. Well, he doesn't get it, the mother gets it, and that's the way it is, because people have parents and life is not just in this little box. And so I made sure, and I thank the writers and the producers who afforded me the ability to really flesh that character out from what its original decision was to portray him. And one of the greatest things that happened was I met a wonderful individual who happened to be transgender, who said to me, excuse me, but I want to thank you. Sorry. I want to thank you for the way you portrayed that character, because it afforded me to see my father in a way that I had not understood him. I was dealing with me. I wasn't necessarily dealing with how it was affecting my family. And you were able to show the love and the confusion and the heartache and the changes and the things that were what I had not seen. And as a result of it, I have now a great relationship with my father. Again, an opportunity in the arts to be able to tell a story. I segue to Miss Evers' voice.
I was just going to say it to you. Another Emmy nominated part for you.
Yes.
Miss Evers, just going to say it to
you. You know, I mean, very, very important production. I don't even understand how this takes place in our society, in our world, where you could experiment on human beings as was experimented on these men and women who were identified as, well, we already have the cure for syphilis, but we don't know. So we're going to do an experiment on African-American males with untreated syphilis. This went on for 36 years. Lives destroyed, families destroyed. But with the brilliant cast, I have to give credit to the writers, the writer. I have to give credit to Kip and Kern Conweiser, because they fought. Those are the two little guys that fought to make sure that that movie got made. Of course, Lawrence Fishburne, Alfre Woodard, Joe Morton, Craig Sheffer, the late great Ossie Davis, the great Joe Sargent, who directed that piece. For us to be able to take and get a hold to it and shape it and mold it and bring it to the fore of the world population. And to have an apology offered from the country to those people whose lives were destroyed. And as I understand, even some reparations given. But it's the ability through that. Philadelphia is another one. To be able to see, look, stop dealing with the person as the disease and deal with their humanity. We've got to understand that we have a power in the arts, when used in the right way, to be able to do good, to show, to share, to shed a light, so that if it's horrible, that it doesn't happen again, or if it starts to happen again, we stop it. And I've been fortunate and blessed to be a part of many of those projects. I'm just thrilled, and I hope I continue to be an instrument in those. I'm doing the television series SWAT now, you know, and I play the father of a family who was divided because this father left when the kids were younger for another relationship to be involved, and now he's come back, and what that means, and the complexities of life. My character was a former Black Panther, and now my son is the head of the SWAT unit. Look at the dichotomy, the confusion, the boom, 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 boom. But the humanity, because it's his father. And when his father goes through a difficult time in his health, it's his dad that he's dealing with. And when his son is in a situation, it's not that you're a police. It's not just bop, bop. That's my kid. And this is my child. And this is, and so with the arts and all of these things, and the relative, you know, we talk about a movie Life. People didn't understand. It was promoted in a very different kind of way. But when you really take the time to watch that movie, it is powerful. And the performances are amazing. Not just, don't take nothing from Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, they're brilliant. But everybody in that movie turns up and turns out.
Absolutely.
And we get an opportunity to see that character that ran across the line, because he says, how do I go back into the world? This is who I am now. Played by Miguel Nunez. There's subtleties, there's undercurrents. There's nothing funny about people being locked away for their entire life for a crime that they did not commit. Ted Demme directed it, Jonathan's nephew. So the one movie that I was, because Jonathan was doing another movie with a predominantly Black cast, and I wasn't in because I was in Life working on his nephew, you know. But as I talked to you about how these families connect, you know, so there's the art, and that when you play a fully realized human being, you give someone that's watching. You know, you talk to me in our part one about how you and your brother would get these songs, and you would do. Never lose that. Never lose that. That's the joy. That was the purity. That was what took away the nerves and the fear and the concerns and the worrying about getting a gig. You were presenting a craft, an art form, something that lives inside you. I always tell people they cannot take from you what they did not give to you. Your gifts, Robert, and anybody that's watching, Your gifts and talents, those are yours. Those were given to you. To the degree that you have worked on developing them, and that's how it's going to, that's how you're going to rise. Because you can do, this is the great thing about being an artist. You can do what you do anywhere on the planet. I've put it to the test. I have performed on stages all over the world. And people do that because they receive something. So fear not. Fear not, baby. Get in there, warm that voice up, stretch, and remember, how did it start? It started because I loved it. And don't let nobody take that from you. Don't let anybody rob you of that.
I have to say, you talk about family and connections. I had told you, I think a part of it on part one, we had a list of every Eddie Murphy movie. On Saturdays, we would rent the movies, and me and my brother wanted to watch them all. We have watched Life over and over again, just like I have watched a lot of your work. And so it's when I see you, I think of that role. I think of the narrator in that movie. I think of my brother. And then to tie it together, you know, you were talking about changing, especially with Anna Maria Horsford, who is and the role with the trans. Griffin Matthews, who did a season of Dear White People, wrote a song about a father and a son. And then I'm close to them, and I stole the song. I asked them for it. It's about a father and a son coming out to them. I was so afraid to share my story and to share a piece of myself because you're afraid of the reaction. But the opposite has happened. So many people have reached out to me and said, I've seen a piece of my own family. You must get that from the Dreamgirls days to the SWAT days, because nothing's more relevant than that storyline that's going on in that show and everything in between. And you have sacrificed time with your own family, your friends, and your hard work and putting in the work to share a piece of your humanity with us. There's nothing more noble. There's nothing that we can as a society appreciate more. And I want to say, as well as millions of other people, truly thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your heart and your spirit with us these years. It does not go unnoticed and unappreciated at all.
Thank you. It has not come without a sacrifice.
Yes.
And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, because I believe is what I'm put on the planet to do. You know, they say that if you can affect change in someone's life along your walk, your living has not been in vain. And so I know that my living has not been in vain. You know, there's a woman I pay tribute to her, and I do this every chance I get. Her name is Alma Smith. Mrs. Smith happened to be maybe known to nobody but her children, grandchildren. But she was my next door neighbor and the mom of my best friend growing up. And one day I'd come home from school, and I guess I had had a difficult day, and my head was hanging down. And Mrs. Smith, not knowing what had gone on, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember the moment she took my chin in her hand. She lifted my head up, she looked in my eyes, and she said, "It's going to be okay, because you are special." And for whatever reason, I heard her. And for whatever reason, I believed her. And I share that story with you and everyone who's listening, because we all have the ability to be a Mrs. Smith in someone's life. You don't have to be well known to the world or a powerful position, but you can look at somebody and say, "Hey, it's going to be okay, because you're special." And they may hear you, they may believe you, and they can go on to somehow affect that change in someone else's life. So I thank you sincerely for your kind words, because sometimes in the quiet moments of your life, you need to hear that and be reminded and be encouraged to continue to go on and fight through it. You know, I tell people the other thing about this in this master class. Every entrance is an exit from somewhere else, and every exit is an entrance into somewhere else. That's acting 101. So the moment happens before the moment, and then the moment follows that moment. Because we get confused on how to get in the room and how to get out of the room gracefully. You come in, hi, yes, okay, yeah, all right, sure, yeah, okay, you want to sing this song? Yeah. And now, thank you, okay, thank you. No. You're coming from somewhere. Bring that with you. And then you got somewhere to go. Take that with you, because that's what the person on the other side of that table is left with. And no, nothing is wasted. No matter how many opportunities you have. It's never about whether you get the gig or not. Because I know a lot of people that get the gig and they think that that's the end of it. Now they don't do the work. No. Somebody said to me, yeah, Obba, I'm just doing this little independent film. I said, he said, no, I'm doing this little independent, low budget movie. I said, are you doing low budget work in it? Because if you get Obba Babatundé, no matter how much he's being paid, you're going to get Obba Babatundé. If I show up, I'm showing up with everything I got to give to you. I'm not basing how much I am going to be good or not good based. No. And know that it never, if my career could be an example, it's not wasted. It's all accumulative. It will resound. It will come back. Just keep on doing it, and doing it with everything you got. Every time you get up at bat, swing for the fence with all the love and passion that you have, and watch what happens. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that, because that's just the way it works. That's has nothing to do with anybody. It has to do with the world, the universe. It has to do with the universe. It's reciprocal, man. It comes back. It does. It does. It does. I cannot emphatically impress it upon you enough. And just keep honing it. Keep honing it. It's yeah, you know, somebody says, you were fabulous tonight. And you go, man, I sucked tonight. I was not. You know, it's what you say is true for you, not what somebody else says.
Real.
Okay. So, you know, when I put a microphone in my hand and I'm going to get on that stage, trust me, before I'm going on, I'm really days before I'm working and I'm working and I'm working, so that when that note hits, I want that note to be the very best, the culmination of everything I've got. If I've got that role, I'm sitting with that script and I'm going, okay, well, these are the words, but what's going on with this human being? And how much in this scene do I show, or do I calibrate it? That's when the fun becomes in it, you know? And then look into the eyes of the person you're doing the scene with. A lot of actors, they make the mistake where they've rehearsed it and then they do the performance like this. Well, you know, so and so and so and so and so and so. I know so and so and so and so. No, I want to look into your eyes and go, you know what, Robert? In this day and time, we've got to do this. What do you think? And then let that person see something that's real. Now you get. Then listen. And if it's camera, The camera sees more of what you feel than what you do. That's what people don't understand, because nobody teaches that hardly. It's more of what you feel. So in order to feel, you have to be available. You can't be like, okay, I'm set up and I'm going to show you how I feel about this. No. Listen. And then if what's coming to you, you already are a human being. So what's coming to you, you already have a response. If I say, hey, listen, I don't appreciate, and you go, wait, I didn't mean that. Well, that's what I felt. Well, then either I'm sorry that you felt that way, if that's what the lines are, the storyline, or listen, I apologize. See, but you don't have to go, oh, I apologize. Then you're indicating.
Right.
You're indicating. That's not, now we're doing a class here, I know, but
I'm here. I'm ready to take this second half of this and listen to it before every self-tape I have. Then I'm going to book it, and then I'm going to call you and say, damn straight I did it.
That's right. That's right. It's right. You'll see. You'll see. Because it's kinetic. And the more you do that, it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. See, you know, I'm a horse whisperer, and so people come to me and I give horse riding some techniques and stuff. And somebody goes, well, listen, I'll be honest with you, man. I've been riding a horse my whole life. I grew up on horses. And I look at them ride and I go, and you know what? You've perfected every one of your mistakes. You're a perfectly poor rider. What? Yeah, you're a perfectly poor rider. You're not connected with the creature. You're dealing with the creature like it's a tool for you. It's not a car. It's a living creature. It's a pure spirit. Let the ego go. Connect. Same thing in our craft. Let the ego go. Connect. You know what I mean? It's not about whether I'm number 1 or number 71 on the call sheet. You know, I'm going to bring it.
I think that's the most brilliant advice. It's something that I have had to learn and work on. I'm still working in progress. It's not personal. Let the ego go. Serve the work, serve the text, serve the actions, behavior, and the other actor, and then just do the same thing with an audience. I did a concert of this summer in Maine, and someone came up to the stage. I gave the mic because they had something to say, and someone said, "How could you ever give your mic away?" I said, "The show is not about me. The show is about them.
That's it.
It's not about me. If you have something you want to share, go ahead."
Well, it doesn't take. The thing is, it doesn't take anything away from you. See, that's another thing. The microphone is an extension of your craft. It is not the aspect of your craft. You know what I mean? It's an extension. It's a tool. You know, because it's gonna come back to you, and then you go on with your life. And if they weren't good, that's on them. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, you know, it didn't. You know, hey, they had something to say. Okay, yeah, all right. What I was saying was, you know, hey, there was a Carpool. I did this crazy movie, Carpool, but with the great actor, oh goodness, he won the Academy Award for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I'm blanking on his name right now.
That's Sydney.
Let's see. But David Paymer was in it. Tom Arnold's in it. Rod Steiger.
Got it. Yes. Okay.
So, Rod Steiger. So Arthur Hiller is directing the movie. Rod Steiger is sitting. David Paymer is supposed to be pitching him this thing. And the director says to Steiger, Rod, I want you boring a hole. As he's talking, I want you looking at him and I want you to strike the fear of God in him. And he goes, call action, Arthur. And he says, action. And Steiger goes like this. starts looking up. And David Paymer's doing his thing, you know, and then he go, cut. Arthur comes out, he goes, Roger, Rod, I want you looking at him, boring a hole in him. I mean, just, you know, scare him, really. And he goes, roll the camera, Arthur. He calls action. He goes like this. Cut. He goes, Rod, I want you looking at him and you scare him when you look at him. He goes, Arthur, there is such a thing called acting, which you obviously know little about. You have to start somewhere to get somewhere. And if I am starting there and that's where I'm ending up, what the hell am I doing? He goes, well, the problem is we're looking up your nose. Then move the damn camera. Now, he can do that because he's Tiger, right? Funny moment on set. I mean, he's Tiger, so everybody's like on eggshells. So he says in this scene that he's supposed to, you'll see in the movie, he yells at David Paymer. And he said to Paymer, he says, when they call action, touch my arm. So he turns around, turns his back to him, and they say action. And David touches his arm. He turns around, begins to scream and yell at him, berating him. Who did you touch me? How dare you touch me? Do you realize why I am? And David is now like this. He can't believe it. The set goes quiet, right? And then he says, and he began to do his lines. It was his preparation. He used that moment of screaming and yelling, and then he would go into the scene, right? So everybody now, the whole set is like nervous. So I said, now it's my turn to do the off-camera work, right? An on-camera thing. So they go, action. I start screaming and yelling, screaming and yelling, screaming and yelling. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I had a Russ Tiger flashback. The whole crew cracked up. It broke all the tension. He got up out of his chair. He got me in a headlock. He goes, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, you son of a gun. Boom. You know what I mean? And, you know, again, taking the moment and just don't take it too serious. Have a good time. Show up, ready to work, know what you want to do, you know, and watch what happens. The magic is always in between the notes and in between the lines. It is the rest that gives the note its value. So sing the rest louder than you sing and stronger than you sing the note.
Well, this needs to be sold in a DVD or some kind of collection. Listen, if you want to see, we talked about it in the first hour. If you want to see what he's talking about, and I posted it and we talked about it before we recorded, listen to him do Mr. Cellophane Man on the Liza live album that's out. It's streaming everywhere. You want to talk about a setup, a monologue, a performance where the heart of that song is emoted in such a beautiful way. That performance alone will teach you all about acting through song, acting in general, and then 200 and something credits that you can go back and watch of this gentleman, a true artist and craftsman. But I don't know what to say thank you. All I can say is I hope I can buy you a sandwich or a drink or a salad or whatever.
When we get together with you, me, and Anna, we're going to do it. I'm going to call her today and tell her that you and I spent the day together. And
please, we had she's coming from New York and her telling her story about being an actress and her craft was another amazing. It is an honor to speak to people who have shared their lives with us through this art. And that means so much to me, truly. I don't know what to say, but thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you for the opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to share these stories.
They're amazing. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Well, now remember when you look at that, look for Peking duck, right?
Yep.
and the Rod Steiger story, you'll see that screaming and yelling, and there's all of the stuff, you know, Miss Evers Boys, and you know, you can still go and I think find some of the work from Bold and the Beautiful of the Avant family, and me playing that dad, and you know, there's just a lot of stuff out there. Philadelphia is, of course, amazing, and Miss Evers Boys. You know, there's lots of stuff out there. Tune in, watch us on SWAT, and thank you so much. And if I'm performing somewhere and you hear about it, come and check me out, because I can still put it down.
I want to see it. I need to see it. I want to see you on stage doing. I want you to dance and sing your face off. I can't wait.
I will. Listen. I will. And it's the kind of show that's this kind of show. It's soup to nuts. I mean, I do standards. I do the tap, the anything that was of that particular time of performing. It is in that show, and I give everything I got. You know what I mean? I tell stories. I, you know, share with, you know, how this came about and how that came about, and you know, it's a fun evening.
I'm there, front row center. I am ready. I am so ready. Thank you. You could go to your website. We could follow you and look up all of his work and keep posting, because I'm sure there is a boatload more of work to come. For sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Obba Babatundé, 2.5 hours yesterday and today. What a magical, amazing guy. There are pieces of that inspire me so much as an artist to be able to go out and do good self-tape work. The freaking, all full my jersey, the freaking fact that this guy used to bring a full rhythm section with him to an audition and sneak into an audition. I don't have the, whatever you want to call it, to go into an audition sometimes with my equity card. Never mind like that. That is, it's out of this world. Obba Babatundé, he wrote me while this was on and expressed his thanks, just share and spend time with us. He's the best. Everybody, next week, Jody Benson. Jody Benson is going to be here live. She's the voice of Ariel. She was on Good Morning America this morning, and then she's here. Plus, the amazing Olita Adams. You can meet me by Trailway. And Justin Guarini's coming on too, and he did that song. So another week. So we have a lot of trailways and railways and caravans. If he doesn't inspire you, literally nobody's going to inspire you, is right, Janelle. He is. I'm ready to go audition for something right now. He is entertaining and inspirational. His stories are fascinating. This conversation has been a joy, and he's a class act. He is a class act. Make sure you watch him on SWAT on CBS with Shamar Moore coming up this season. It's back for another season, and you could always watch Dear White People. It's streaming on Netflix as well of all of his movies. I love The Notebook. It's a good one. I understand, Janelle, because at the end, when he gets impassionately speaking about taking everything that you have, the gifts that you've been given are your gifts to use, very alchemist-like. It's very strong and powerful, and I'm definitely going to take the words with this. Everyone, our friend Abby has volunteered to start a Roundtable Twitter page, which inspired me to take over the old Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails page and turned it into a new Instagram page for the show. So we're going to post everything that's posted on my personal page will now go onto a show page, and that's at the Roundtable with Robert Bannon on Instagram. So we'll be putting up more extra stuff and maybe some bonus material up there as well. That's what I've got for you. What a wonderful, joyous day. Have an amazing weekend. Everybody, thank you to Obba. Thank you so much to Tracy Harper and Harper PR for helping us out today. Everyone go watch Derek Vanderhorst right now on the Roundtable Talks, that's sister show that's now on YouTube. You can watch it right now. It's a really good interview, and he sings the song for you. And I will be there. All the Roundtable fun. I will be there with you next week, and I look forward to it. Keep in touch. Stay in touch. Be well. Take care of one another. Best is yet to come. See you then.